Changing strings on a Floyd Rose equipped Schecter Blackjack guitar. And the first thing you want to do is you want to block up the bridge. And my guitar, the way it's set up, what fits perfectly underneath the bridge is a AA battery. And what you're trying to accomplish in blocking up the bridge makes it really easy to tune it up once you have the new strings on. So you want to make sure when you block it up that your bridge isn't sitting, out of the body, or when you take the strings off, you don't want it to fall into the cavity like that. So for mine, a perfect fit is a AA battery, and it's with it blocked up right there, it's still in tune. So, but if I take the strings off, it won't move, it won't fall into the cavity. So the first thing you want to do is unlock everything up here at the neck, and then take these blocks out. And this is where a lot of guys will differ in their opinions about how I do this. They'll say that it's not good to take all the strings off of a Floyd Rose equipped guitar at one time. Primarily because it's really hard to get it back into tune once you do that, but that's why you block up the bridge. And the other reason is it's like dropping a 50-pound sandbag on your neck when you do it. But if you have a Floyd Rose equipped guitar, chances are you use it, and every time you dump the bar, you're pretty much putting slack in all the strings anyway. So, in my opinion, I've been doing this way for 15 years, and I've never had a problem with a neck. So I'll go ahead and dump the bar and cut the strings. And make sure that block is where it needs to be. Okay, now you can go up here and pull off the old strings. So those are out. And then you got back on the back here, usually most Floyd Roses, these strings are going to be locked in, and they're going to be using these little blocks in the bridge that look about like that. Hopefully the camera's focusing in on that. Anyways, so you take your Allen wrench, it's usually the same one that was up here, and give them all a half a turn and loosen up those locking blocks. And you should be able to just go ahead and pull these right out too. Nice and easy. Okay. All right. So if you could, if I showed you with the camera, I like to keep my Floyd Rose perfectly flush with the top of the body, as far as out of parallel, And if you looked at it right now, you would see that the bridge is still perfectly parallel with the surface of the body. Okay, it hasn't recessed back into the cavity of the guitar. And then my next trick is all the eyes on the neck. If you can get them facing the bridge, that's a big help. Okay, so now all the eyes on my headstock are facing that way, and this is why I do that. I like GHS strings. I've been using these for a long time, and come to think of it, since I switched to GHS boomers, I have not busted one string in probably 6 years, and they do hold their tone very well. This is 9 through 46. Another thing to keep in mind when you change the strings on a Floyd Rose guitar, if you have a string preference, as far as gauge and size go, stick to that size for your Floyd Rose equipped guitar. It's when you change string gauges that things can get kind of difficult when you want to change the strings on your Floyd Rose equipped guitar. So the set that I took off are 9 through 46, and the set I'm putting back on are also 9 through 46. So, and I run them through. This is another thing that other people probably wouldn't necessarily agree with me on, but I run the ball end through the headstock. And this has served me quite well through the years. I've never actually had an issue in doing it this way either. It takes a couple of steps out of winding the strings up and getting everything in tune. You know, if because you're gonna wind up cutting the string down here and locking them up anyway. So why cut the ball end off when they serve a purpose on the top here? So run all your strings through, and it makes it easy because you can see how they're all facing, all the eyes are facing this way, so the strings aren't all titty-wampus up here on the neck or on the headstock. And then this is what I do. I just grab all 6 strings and I bring them back pretty much to the back of the cavity on the guitar and snip them. Just cut them all at once. So now they're cut to length. And then one by one, make sure you're grabbing the right string. Make sure you're not crossing the strings. You know, I've I've accidentally put it back together before and had 2 strings crossing, and that's no fun. But okay. So, and then when you're putting the string back in, you're getting almost 1/4 of an inch into the, you know, so make sure you're getting all the way down to the bottom of the cavity inside the saddle. And then go ahead and tighten that block back up. And be real careful not to over tighten that block. You want to have it tight enough to hold the string. You don't want your strings falling out. But if you tighten that block too much, what happens is they'll break. And if I can get that to focus here. Well, this is a busted block from like 5 years ago. But anyways, them little blocks can be difficult to find. Like, you go to Guitar Center, they won't even have them, you know. So that feels about, you know, hand tight is what you're going for. You know, you can kind of feel with your hand when you start just getting to the stress point of the metal, and that's when you want to stop. Alright, so the strings are back at full tension. Now I'll show you how to tune it. Alright, now here's where people always get frustrated putting new strings on a Floyd Rose equipped guitar, tuning it. So, as a rule, when you get the new strings on, you still got that block in the bridge. Okay, you can get it pretty much close to where your standard tuning would be, you know. And you kind of go through and stretch all the strings. You want to stretch them. Don't break them, but give them a good stretch. Break them in. So now all the strings are broke in. We're close to standard tuning. I'm going to pull this battery out and see where we sit. Okay, so I'm a little flat on the E and the D. The G looks good, B looks good. Okay, so this is where it gets aggravating, and this is how we simplify it and make this easy. Start with the 3rd string, the G. I'm a little sharp. You can see I'm about 20 cents sharp on that. So I'm going to actually take that down 20 cents flat. And then I'm going to go to the D string, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm about 10 cents flat on the D, so I'm going to go 10 cents sharp. And then I'm going to go to the B string, the second string, and that's about 5 cents sharp. So I'll take it down to about 5 cents flat. Then to the A string, about 15 cents sharp. So we'll go about 15 cents flat. And the E string. That looks like it's pretty much right on, so I'll just go ahead and zero that out. And then low E string, same thing, that's about 15 cents. And then we'll do that one more time. And when you overcompensate each string, what that's doing is compensating the springs in the back of the guitar. And then by the time you get your third time through, just try to zero everything out. You're pretty much fine-tuning at this point, so it looks like we're pretty close to dead on. So now I'll go ahead and I'll lock these up, and then you can just use your fine-tuners from here on out. And there you go. Chain strings on a Floyd Rose, everything's in tune. And like I said, you can stay hooked up to your tuner and just use your fine-tuning pegs to dial it in, and it'll stay in tune very well. So there you go, Floyd Rose guitar, string change and tuning.